Hey, what's going on, guys? Chris with the Edge Body Radio Show. Back at you again for another episode of the podcast. Today, we've got a very special video podcast, but also we've got a very special guest. I'm going to call her our Owensboro celebrity from last weekend. Sahar is here to talk a little bit more about the World Marathon Challenge, talk a little bit about St. Jude, even talk about, what gets her going, what her training's like and everything. So, Sahar, welcome to the Edge Body Radio Show.
Thank you. I'm glad to be here.
So you just did the marathon in Louisville. How do you feel now? We are now, 5 days? It's May 1st. We're recording this, and that was on April 26th.
I'm feeling good now. Legs are back to normal. Been running the last couple days and getting ready to hit 2 more marathons this weekend.
Where are you doing those at?
The first one is in Kenosha, Wisconsin on Saturday, and then Sunday I'm going to go to Kalamazoo, Michigan.
That's crazy. That's crazy. So for the listeners, everybody that doesn't know, Sahar came to town last week. We did a fundraiser for St. Jude for her. Ended up raising a little over $2,000. All of it goes back to her campaign, everything that she's doing for St. Jude. But why are you raising all this money? What are you cooking up, girl? What are you cooking?
So I'm cooking up something called the 777 or World Marathon Challenge, which pretty simply is running 7 marathons in 7 days on the 7 continents.
You're insane.
Yeah, I've gotten that a lot.
Absolutely insane. So let me get it right. So Antarctica, South Africa.
Yep.
Australia.
Yes.
Then you said Dubai for Asia.
Yep.
And then we're Madrid.
Yes, for Europe.
And then Brazil for South America.
Yep.
And then you're finishing in Miami.
In Miami, yep, that's it.
What are you most excited for?
I want to say Antarctica, just because
you can say, "Oh, I ran on Antarctica."
Exactly, but I think I'm also really excited for Miami because I know that means I'm done and I've accomplished it. So I think it's a toss-up between those two.
Yeah, that's awesome. That is so cool. I want to ask you a few questions. See how prepared I am. I'm bringing up the questions that I sent you earlier today to see what we're going to go through. I want to know your origin story. You can go back as far as you want to. I know a lot about you. I know that a lot of our members do and people that listen to the show, but there's some people out there that don't know who you are or how you got into this crazy idea of 7 marathons, 7 continents in 7 days. So take it back as far as you want to, all the way to birth if you want to, but we are on a time crunch. So
no, not quite that far. It's pretty uninteresting if I go back that far. But, running in general, I was never really good at. I never liked it. I didn't enjoy it. My sister-in-law actually got me into it. She ran a full marathon. I ran my first or second half marathon with her. And I tried to walk out of the corral and not even start because I was like, this is dumb. Who runs 13 miles as I get ready to run 7 marathons? It really started with her. And then in 2018, I lost my grandmother to cancer. And I just struggled like mental health wise. I was not in a good spot and I needed something to do to get this energy. I needed to burn it somehow. And I started running. I ran the Houston Marathon in 2019, the half marathon. And one of the last things my grandmother had told me was to make sure I do things for other people. And that was how I could honor her legacy. And the first charity I came across was St. Jude. And, I started fundraising in 2019 and this journey's raised about $150,000 so far prior to this. And
yeah, that's a lot. That's awesome.
It's been a journey. It's taken me all over the world at this point. I mean, I've gone to London and Berlin, all over the US, and took me to Africa to climb Mount Kilimanjaro. So it all started with my grandmother and my parents teaching me, to give back. And I figure if I'm going to do this insane stuff, why not make it have a purpose?
That's right. And now, if I'm not mistaken, every race or every event you do, you're not going to do it unless you can raise money for St. Jude.
Correct. So every race that I've run, I've raised money for St. Jude to make sure that I'm able to give back.
Yeah, which I may be jumping the gun whenever I say this, but it's just something that you said at our event on Saturday that I just thought was so powerful and so cool. I really want to make sure that it got in here. You were talking about, about doing the marathons and doing different things and how you want to break the stereotypes. You want to show girls that they can do things. They don't have to fit inside of a certain box or anything like that. Whenever you said that, I was like, that is so freaking cool because that's true. That's so much that with the world of Facebook, Instagram, reels, TikToks, everything. We're trained to think we have to look a certain way, move a certain way,
Yeah.
act a certain way, and you're just kind of throwing up the birds and saying, no, you can do whatever you want to do.
Absolutely. And I was guilty of that. I thought to be a runner you had to look a certain way and be able to finish a marathon in 3 hours or whatever it was. And I tell myself all the time I have self-doubt and I can't do it. And then I think about, my nieces and my nephew and all these little girls and girls in general that are told, you can't play sports or you're not fast enough or you're not quick enough or whatever it is. And you know what? To hell with that. Like, do what you want. You can go out there and do anything as long as you try hard for it. And then the other part of it is you see these kids at St. Jude that are literally fighting for their life every day and they're not complaining. They're not doing anything. They're just getting up and fighting. So, I mean, we can get up and work out and run and we're able to do that. We get to do that, and they don't. So it's definitely motivation.
Yes. And then Haley mentioned, I guess it was on Saturday night, we were talking. She didn't realize that the kids at St. Jude, the families, they don't receive a bill.
Yeah, so what's even more insane about this and really drives my fundraising is that families never receive a bill for travel, treatment, food, housing, any of that. It's completely 100% free. And they believe that all a family should have to do is worry about their kids getting better. And I mean, what better cause can you get behind?
Exactly. It's kids.
Yeah. It,
I mean, we've done several things with them before, and this is just a very special one for it. So you mentioned Kilimanjaro.
yeah.
Yeah, you didn't
Yeah.
seem so excited about that. But that's kind of how you and I got connected with,
Yep.
Brandon ended up going to Kilimanjaro, ended up coming here and working out with us. And that's kind of how you and I got connected. If you didn't know, Sahar is in Houston right now.
Yep.
We are in Owensboro, Kentucky over here. But I think that, how did that go? How did that, you don't have to say how it came about, but you can say kind of about how the mountain was and different things. Because how many days was it?
It was 8 days. So 6 days to go up the mountain and then 2 days to come back down.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
It was just one of those things. I signed up for it on a whim, thinking like, oh, this is really cool. And then as we got closer, I was like, what the hell am I doing? I live in Houston. I'm at sea level. I've never been at elevation. Like, what am I doing?
Right.
And
Right.
we got there, we got to Africa and we're looking out of the hotel and you can see the mountain and I'm literally like bawling. I was crying because I was like, I don't know what I've done. And my mom was like, we just spent a lot of money to get to Africa. So you're going up this mountain, whether you want to or not, you're making it happen. And, I was able to climb that mountain with 5 other, the most amazing people that I've ever had the chance to meet. And when I say they carried me, they carried me up that mountain because there was, again, like I've talked about it a couple of times, self-doubt. You tell yourself enough times you can't do something, you start to believe it. But I would say right around day 3 or day 4, there was just some shift. Like I could just feel it. Like, man, I'm doing this. Like I'm actually climbing this mountain, and it was insane to be literally on top of the world.
Yeah,
And
because I remember there was a picture that Brandon showed that was like the clouds, like y'all were over the clouds, which is
yeah,
just such something cool. I mean, I've done mountain trips and things before, so I've seen all
yeah,
that stuff before, but it's just to see it again over and over. It doesn't get old. It's not something
no,
that
it's awesome.
wants to
And
do it again.
we weren't off the mountain. I think we had just summited, and I was told about the opportunity to do the 777 before I left for Africa. And like I said, we summited, and I looked at those guys and I said, you know what, I'm gonna do it.
So they told you before, so you were doing an event for St. Jude, kept climbing the mountain,
Yeah.
and you had already applied for the World Marathon Challenge,
So
or
we had talked about it, and I said, if there's ever a chance in the coming years, I think it would be great. I'd love to try it. And 2 days before we left for Africa, I got the call from St. Jude that said, hey, we can get a bib. We want to know if you're going to commit. Let us know. And I was like, I've kind of committed to climbing a mountain. I need to get that one done first, but can I let you know as soon as I get back? And they were like, yeah, that's fine. Let us know. We can make it happen. And that's all that was on my mind, believe it or not, climbing that mountain. I was like, well, I wonder if I could do it. Is it possible? Like, this is a lot. And we summited. And I think that's where it hit me that, I can do hard things.
you can
And I
do
was
hard
like,
things.
you know
No,
what?
sure.
Let's do it.
Yeah, that was one of our. So we did at Edge Body, we did challenge in November last year that was, if you complete the challenge, then you got a t-shirt out of it. And
Yeah.
on this t-shirt it said, do hard things. So that's definitely something that we live up to here. And then
Oh
you're
yeah.
just a living embodiment of that. So you want to do another mountain?
I say no, but yes. I
Yes.
mean, but again, like I'm thinking Everest. Like if I'm going to do something for some reason,
Wow.
I'm going big or I'm not doing it. Like I'm not
Wow.
just going to climb the mountain. I'm going to go climb Kilimanjaro as my first mountain. I'm not just going to
Yeah.
run one marathon. I'm going to run 7 of them,
I'm number 7. How many marathons have you done, including the one you did last weekend?
including the one last weekend. That was number 17. So,
Awesome.
and almost all of the world majors. So Chicago, New York, Boston, London, Berlin, Marine Corps, Los Angeles, Walt Disney World. I've run one out in Arizona with my running coach. You guys in Kentucky, I got knocked off another state. So
That's right. So with all these running, everything going on, what's your strategies? Like, what does your nutrition look like? What does your training look like?
well, nutrition, thanks to you, is coming together quite nicely. So that
Good.
is very much
Good.
appreciated. At first, when I first started running, I wasn't really paying attention to it. And now as I've gotten more in depth with it, it's become such a crucial part of every single day and how much water I'm drinking and electrolytes and food and making sure that I'm getting all that in. So it's played a major role now. Adjusting still, trying to figure out how exactly I'm going to fuel for this challenge specifically, and but working on that and just doing what I can.
Some of those waffles that you
Oh,
got on the mountain.
those
Those
honey
stink,
stinger waffles are
honey
so
stinger
good.
waffles. Yeah. Yeah, definitely. Definitely. Brandon thought there was protein in them, guys. There's no protein in the honey stinger waffles. So
They're so good though.
hate to break your heart on that one. Yes, I mean, essentially, whenever we talk about the 777, is you got 168 hours to do
Yeah.
these 7 marathons, which equals to however many miles. I can't do the math right now, but it's basically the way you travel and how much you have to go. It's essentially you're doing a 7-day race, in my
Yeah.
opinion, because
Pretty
you are
much.
literally on a cargo plane.
Yeah.
What, like the Russians or something? Like the Russians
Yeah.
do
So
a thing.
the initial first plane from South Africa into Antarctica is like on an old Russian cargo plane. It's the only plane that you can fly into Antarctica, apparently. All of your rest, all of your recovery is on a plane. Like you literally land on this continent, you run, and then you get back on a plane and you're gone.
That's That's insane. It's just incredible to think about everything is. So it's a private plane. I know that's going to be a question I'm going to get, the
Yes.
logistics of it. So it's a private plane. So essentially, everybody that's doing this race, how many people are doing the race?
I believe it's like 30 or 40, somewhere in there. It's not a lot of people. I think to date, only like 300 or 400 have ever finished the whole World Marathon Challenge. And I think you had pointed that out, that just under like 100 are actually women that have done it. So
Yeah,
a
actually, I'm looking
very
that up again to
rare
make sure.
group of people.
Yeah, I'm looking that up right now just to make sure that I was right on that. But um, yeah, according here, it says as of February 6th, 2025, which would be, I guess, this year's
Yeah, because
ending of this year.
this year's they went in January.
Yeah, it was 133 women have completed this out of
That's
8 billion in the world, which is it's just incredible to think about because, you always say, runners, we're a different breed
yeah,
anyway, that,
yeah,
but the higher up in the distances that you go as well, to do a marathon, you're in the top 0.01%. To do
yeah.
a sub 3 hour marathon, you're in the 0.001%. You break that down and you're in like the point whatever, like the smallest fraction of possible.
Yeah.
That's such an elite club to get into. I just can't understand. Just can't wrap my head around it.
I mean, I can't either. It's something that I think we're still a little ways out from it, so it hasn't like truly. I'm excited about it. I'm looking forward to it, but I don't think the full on nerves have set in just yet. But as each month goes by, I'm definitely getting a little more anxious and thinking about it a lot more. And there's just a lot of I feel like there's a lot of responsibility behind it too, not only for the showing the girls out there what they can do, but just showing everybody that if you put your mind to something, you can do it. Like nobody can tell you you can't do something. And then of course there's always those kids at St. Jude that I carry with me everywhere I go, anytime I run. So it's definitely going to be quite the adventure.
And then what you're going to go through in 7 days is just a fraction of what those kids go through.
That's Yeah.
You're going to be done in 7 days.
Yeah.
They could be 7 months, 7 weeks, 7 years,
Yeah.
just battling whatever kind of cancer that they have.
Hmm.
So you're able to kind of carry a little bit of that burden with you, I feel like, and
Yeah.
go on with it. And I know you're going to be wearing that St. Jude shirt as much as you can.
Absolutely.
Probably not on Antarctica because you'll be bundled up. But I know in like the warmer places you'll be rocking that singlet, so that's going to be inspiring to see and everything. Now, with the challenge is like, are you like one of the only charity runners there, or do people normally do a charity fundraiser for it?
So it's usually, from what I've read, 50-50. So some people will outright buy a spot and complete the challenge, and then other people will fundraise and go the charity route.
Yeah, which I remember you told me that your mom was saying wants to go on it too, because your parents are so involved in what everything that you do, and
Yeah.
they were like, I want to go with you too, and y'all contacted the race director, and it was like $40,000 for your mom to sit on a plane on like
Yes.
a seat most likely, uh, and you're like, no man, if you got 40K, that's going to my fundraiser. That's not going
Yes.
to traveling the world with me.
100%. If she had that kind of money sitting around, she's donating that for sure.
Yeah, yeah. Now, do you so? We do. I'm starting to work a lot more with runners over here,
Mhm.
and the biggest thing is like I try and get our runners to do strength training type of exercises. Do you do any of that stuff?
Yeah, so I was huge into strength training. I threw shot put and discus, so I was all about the Olympic lifts and power movements. And I actually stopped weightlifting when I started running, thinking that I needed to stop one to do the other. And I noticed after like almost a year and a half, my times were just not getting any better. Like I was just not getting faster. I actually felt worse. And I started doing a little bit of research, started talking to some people, and they were like, well, yeah, you stopped strength training. So I got back into strength training. And I am incorporated that into my running schedule. Again, thank you for the
Uh,
workout guide. And that has been a total game changer. Like I missed strength training because that was something I love. I've always enjoyed it, but man, it has changed the running game definitely.
so everybody kind of knows, we basically have you set up on a 3 day a week strength training program.
Yep.
Lower body one day, upper body another day. Am I right so far?
4 days. So I think we're doing lower
4
body.
days.
Yeah.
I don't know anything about anything else. So 4 days a week,
Yeah.
upper body, lower body. Oh, we have a push day, a pull day, and a leg day, right? And
Yes.
then we have a functional day. There it
Yeah.
is.
Function. There,
There it
that
is.
is
We
that.
got it.
There you go.
Yeah, the functional side of it too, because people think that running is just a one singular plane of motion type of movement. But whenever your right arm is forward, your left leg is back, and your hips are twisting, so you got to have a little bit of
Yeah.
rotational stuff in there, a little bit more mimicking exactly what you're doing, which is kind of it all kind of blends together. Now you're doing 4 day a week strength training. What's your runs like? I know you've got some stupid thing in July you're doing too. You're telling me about.
Yeah, so the running schedule's right around 6 days. So I've got a couple of easy mid long runs, and then I love my track workouts. So I've got some speed workout in there, and then long runs on Saturdays and Sundays. So a lot of back to backs. In July there is a race out in St. Paul, Minnesota, and you can choose anywhere from 1 day to 7 days where you can run a marathon each day. And I'm going to go ahead and throw in, like, why not? Let's just run 7 marathons in 7 days, but let's do it in one city, one continent, and just give it a try here. So I'm going to try that race out and kind of work on nutrition and focus on that because I won't have to worry quite about recovery and travel since I'll be in one spot. But
Now, have you ever done an ultra marathon?
I have not.
I have not either. So there's just the thought of, for me personally, I've done, what is it? I've done 7 full marathons. To
Okay.
go further than that for me it's not in my wheelhouse, I don't think. But
But you've also done an Ironman, which is on
I
my
have,
list.
I have, but yeah, which that's going to be your goal after the 777
I
is
got
get
to
you ready
keep
for an
moving
Ironman.
forward.
So yeah, yeah, I love the like the positivity you have, but also the idea of once I hit this goal, I want to keep going to the next one. So it's like you don't shift your focus because so many people that we see here are, they want to lose 20 pounds
Yeah.
and they hit that 20-pound mark and they're just lost. They don't know what to do.
Hmm.
They don't know what's going on. But the people that have almost a longer term goal after their long term goal, seem to be a little bit more motivated to make that like a continuous style thing. Almost like a
Yeah.
story that I put up on our Facebook today was saying, don't start whenever you have that free time. Start
I
whenever you're busy. Did you see it?
Yes, I saw that, and I was just about to talk about that. I was like, that's so true, because if you make it work when you're busy, like, you're gonna keep with it. And that was I when I saw that today, I was like, man, that's so true.
Yeah, I mean, whenever we did our first round of 75 hard and had to do the two 45-minute exercises, I was teaching every single 5:30 session. Pretty much, I only had 2 sessions a week that I wasn't teaching, and I still got
Jeez.
it all done. And now it's just was easier to get it going because you just have to be on a schedule. You almost have to commit to it and stay
Yeah.
with it the entire time and not have to worry about, not get distracted, I should say, by like Shawnee Yajay syndrome of saying
Oh, for sure.
there's a football game on TV. We've got now that you've been to Kentucky, you're going to have to watch the Derby on Saturday.
Oh, of
That's
course.
a
You know I'm gonna
that's a
have
number one
to.
thing, and you have to tell your parents that's where you ran through.
And
Is
that
on
was
there.
insane. That definitely one of the cooler places I've gotten to run. Never in my I mean, you always see the Derby and like you've heard about Churchill Downs and stuff, but to actually run on it was insane. It was a very cool course.
Now, what's cool is I did the Louisville, the half Ironman.
Hmm.
So it was 1.2 mile swim, 56-mile bike, 13-mile run. To start the race, they had the official can't think of the guy's name or what he does. He plays the bugle, he plays taps or call to arms or whatever it's called.
Uh-huh.
They had the official guy that does it at the Derby open up the race there. So that
Oh,
was pretty
that's
cool.
awesome.
I got a picture with the guy. My dad got it framed for me for Christmas, so it's just
That's
kind of
so
fun
cool.
a fun thing there. So it's just a memory there. Louisville just has a lot of history like that, and they really
Yes.
like to play into that there. Which I want to go back to the challenge real quick. Kind of, do you know if like how is it set up in the side of is there like a big to do whenever you get to a place, or is there a makeshift sign that travels with you around the world, or how does that work? Do you even know?
I do not know. I know they have like an official finish line set up. I know that they work really really hard to make sure that every person that crosses that finish line gets to break the tape at every continent. So I've seen that.
That's
And
cool.
as a very proud back of the pack runner, I have never gotten to break the tape anywhere. So I am definitely looking forward to that. But I do not know how that works. I know I have to be in South Africa a couple days before it starts for some pre-race briefings and all that before we head to Antarctica for the first one. But I mean, definitely as I get more information, you guys will be the first to know for sure.
That would be great. So I'm gonna put all the fundraising stuff in like the show notes below it, and
Yeah.
then kind of tag everything with it. But kind of, what's the best way that someone can do a donation to you if
Yeah, so there's a dedicated fundraising link through that. All the money, like I said, it always goes to St. Jude. I just get credit for it that I've fundraised it. There is a Instagram page that's dedicated to the 777 and basically just these crazy adventures that I go on for St. Jude, and that's at Run Climb Heal. And they're on Facebook, all of the socials, and of course at your location, they can get all the information about what I'm doing over here in Kentucky. Yep.
you got your QR code up here? We're still trying to get you more money. Awesome. So 18 marathons, 17 marathons. What do you do when shit gets real? Like what do you where do you go in your pain cave, I should say?
You know, I dig down deep. I think about one of the first times that I ever started running, and I told myself after my first half marathon, this was an obnoxious distance, and I would never run it again. And then I think about how far I've come, and then I've been fortunate enough to actually be able to visit St. Jude Children's Research Hospital, and I've gotten to meet children that are patients there, that are survivors there, and I've gotten to meet parents that have lost their kids there. So I carry all of those memories with me, and when it gets real tough, mile 20, mile 22, I just think about those kids. And for the ones that have passed, they would like nothing more than to be here and do what I'm doing. And the ones that are fighting, they just want to be outside and they can't. So I need to keep pushing because they are too. So I carry those kids with me a lot. And my grandma was a big deal to me. So I rely on her strength a lot.
That's awesome. So I mean I would say every kid that lost their life
Yeah,
is looking down on you and giving you support and pushing you through to get you across that finish line. Because that's what you do.
absolutely.
That's what you're going to do in the 777. That's
Yeah.
what you're going to do this weekend at the double Kalamazoo and Kenosha races.
Yep.
But it's pretty good. That was kind of serious. Edgebody Radio Show is not that serious of a show. I'm going to ask you some questions, just some quick questions, and we can kind of elaborate on that.
All right.
What's your favorite kind of food?
Mexican food.
Mexican food?
Oh yeah.
What's your go-to Mexican food?
Chicken enchiladas.
Okay, that's what you got at Mi Ranchito, isn't it?
Oh, it was so good too. Oh man.
Good, good. So everybody knows, I think Owensboro has better Mexican food than Houston does, because I've heard that from both the people that used to live in Houston. They said that it's so hard to find good Mexican food.
It is.
So we got the authentic stuff here. Yeah. Hip hop or rock and roll?
Rock and roll.
Okay, what's your go-to song?
Oh my God.
Eye of the Tiger. Well,
actually, lately it's been Crazy Train.
Really?
Yeah, I don't know why.
There.
It's just been in my head.
Yeah, that's probably why you like the workout that you did with us here on Thursday, because I always do a Throwback Thursday.
Oh yes, man, those songs were hitting hard that day.
Yeah, yeah. I played some Kiss this morning, and it was a great day. Outside of running, what do you like to do?
I playing sports, basketball, watching sports. I'm a huge baseball fan.
Okay.
Huge baseball fan.
TV, you seen anything good lately?
Say that again.
TV.
Oh my God. No, nothing really.
You even have time for TV with all this running and training?
Yeah, no, nothing good on TV that I've watched, but I will take recommendations if anybody's got anything.
We are watching. Do you have HBO?
I do. Mm-hmm.
We started watching The Last of Us.
Oh, is that good?
It's really good. Yeah,
I've heard that.
So there's a full season out, and then there's like 2 or 3 episodes of like the second season out now.
Okay.
And we're on I think we finished episode 7 last night of the first season. So far, very good. Yeah, highly recommend it.
Okay.
So yeah. So whenever you do the training and everything, are you a morning person or a night person?
Morning person. I think we mentioned I live in Houston, Texas. So if I'm not running at like 3 or 4 in the morning, I'm running in the dead heat of the day. So I'm a morning person.
Yeah. So you've been to this is my last question. Okay, last question. You've been to all these places, Berlin, London, different places. What is your dream travel destination? Where would you say, you don't have to do a race there, or maybe it is something you want to do? What's something you want to do? I'll share you mine while you're thinking about it.
All
okay.
Right.
I've always thought it would be cool to follow the Tour de France during the month of July. Okay. Spend the whole month in France. Will it ever happen? No, most likely not. But I just think it would be such a cool thing.
That would be really cool, actually. That's a good one.
We're a big Wyoming fan in our household. We always said if we could pack up and move and leave, we would move there.
All right.
So
I actually was just talking about this the other day, and I think I would like to go to Greece and run the original marathon.
Okay. Yeah.
And I've never been. I think it'd be really cool. I know you said if I didn't have to run a race, but I think it would be really cool to run that and to run where it all started. I think it'd be cool.
Yeah, I think that's awesome. If you're you're planning on doing tons and tons of different things throughout your life. But you know what? Thank you so much for coming on and doing this.
Thank you.
No, you're good.
I just want to say thank you to everybody for all the support, all of the, the love, the encouragement, everything that's gone on since this challenge has started. So many people have come into my life, you guys especially, just getting support from literally all over the country at this point. And it's amazing. And I just, want to take that time to thank everybody. And even, I'll be carrying all of you guys with me as I do this for sure as well.
All right. That is awesome. Well, Sahar, thank you so much for coming on this episode of the Edgebody Radio Show. Guys, if you got any questions about Edgebody, feel free to shoot us a message on Facebook, Instagram. We're on all the social media pages there. You can download our free recipe book at edgebodyowensboro.com. Until next time, guys, eat clean, train dirty, and have that no excuses mentality. Peace.